How's going guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Moka, Rias and Kuroka. Part 2. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. The last time on Legend Among Yokai. Maybe I shouldn't pull the rosary off. Kurama scoffed, what an idiot, the pink cat has told him not to do it, but here he done something stupid and ignore her. You wanted to see her, here she is. Kurama said in a sarcastic tone. Naruto sighed, Kurama was right, he wanted to see Moka, the silver hair Moka, but this aura, this is ridiculous. Is this the girl I used to know? Naruto mentally asked himself and stare at the glowing Moka with awe as the figure standing beside him changing slowly, green emerald eyes turned to crimson with black slits on the middle of her pupils. Her long pink hair changed to silver, her freese and her hips become bigger than the previous Moka. Her lips stretched and turned into a smirk, eyes were glaring at Naruto. Good day to you Naruto-kun. Naruto doesn't say anything but stare at the silver Moka standing beside him, she looked exactly the same as Kurama has predicted. A blush spreads across his cheeks as the nervous smile turned into a horrific one, realizing the glare she was giving him, the blonde gulped as a sweat dripped down his face, and the only words he could said are, "Oh hey there Moka." Present. The Akashiya Moka stood beside him with a smirk on her face, whilst her long slender hands rested on her hips, her long silver hair was rested on her back, and crimson with black slit cat-like eye was glaring at him, her freese and her hips gotten bigger showing him her cleavage and a glimpse white color of her panties. Good day to you Naruto-kun. Naruto doesn't say anything but stare at the silver Moka standing beside him, she looked exactly the same as Kurama has predicted. A blush spreads across his cheeks as the nervous smile turned into a horrific one, realizing the glare she was giving him, the blonde gulped as a sweat dripped down his face, and the only words he could said are, "Oh hey there Moka." He trailed off unsure of the current situation. The silver net flares her Yokai, as her crimson black slitted eyes narrowed at the retreating form of one Uzumaki Naruto. Where do you think you're going? She inquired in a demanding tone making the retreating Naruto froze as he turned around and stared at the silver net with uncertainty. HMPH trying to deceive me, is that what those teachers teach you when you become a shinobi? Hearing the words teachers and the term shinobi causing him to flinch as an image of Iruka sensei and everyone he knew that has taught him to become the man he is today crossed his mind, that includes Jiraiya's last words of finding peace, and he'd done that but sadly he was sent to another world. A different world where chakra doesn't exist, or even if chakra does exist the possibility of shinobi is 0%. Don't ignore me, the silvernet growled, bringing him back out of his little memory as the blonde-headed shinobi tried his best to smile. Keyword. Tried where he failed miserably as it was now Moka turn to be silent. Sorry about that, he apologized, bowing his head down in shame. Instead of remembering the past he should move on and try to get to know her again. Besides, he doesn't have anything to worry, the headmaster will take care of everything for him to go back there, to the elemental nation. Deep within his mind the orange baddest nine-tailed fox rolled his eyes, his head was rested on his paws as he watched both teens interacted with one another. He didn't know why, but somehow the Moka he predicted were the exact same as the current silvernet. She was indeed become a gorgeous young woman, and he will be a damned if Naruto lose this girl because of him wanting to go back to Konoha. It still amazed me that brat of yours wanted to go back to the place that once hated and despised him. Shukaku commented from next to him as Kurama rolled his eyes. How many times does he need to explain that? Yeah, I know the story. The conclusion of it is that Konoha treated him like a hero because of their once demon brat defeated the Akatsuki leader, Pain or Nagato whatever. And the exact same thing could be said. Have you ever wondered how the people will treat him if he goes back to the elemental nation more stronger with monsters as wives after the 4th Shinobi War ended? HMPH, you go talk to him and tell him that. It is not my place to say that. He has made up his mind, Shukaku. He's going back and no one will stop him from doing so. Fine sheesh. The silvernet hummed, her eyes were filled with sadness seeing this Naruto, and out of curiosity she decided to ask. What actually made you end up here Naruto-kun? Should I tell her, Kurama? The blonde asked his partner. I say you go and tell her, kid. Besides you have nothing to lose, so what's the point keeping secret? But. There's no buts, you idiot. That girl, she trusted you, why don't you trust her too? She was your first friend, also the first one that didn't treat you with indifference, and was the first one that acknowledges you with her sister following suits. Beside, I could feel her emotions. At the moment she was sad probably because of how you acted towards her, happy because she's seeing you again after such a long period of time, and fear, I'm not sure why, but I think it has something to do with her belief. Alright fine, the blonde nodded and cut of their connection. Shukaku laughs. Do you think he will tell the truth? I hope so, if not he'll probably made up some lies that he thought will save his life. Kurama sighed. HMPH, you're probably right, good thinking. Nods Shukaku. The silver hair vampiress could feel a vein appear on her forehead. She has waited for 3 minutes and still received no answer from the blonde. His action annoyed her to no end. Didn't he say that he wanted to talk to her? Then what's the point staying quiet? TCH, if this keeps up she might need to go back to the seal and wait for another opportunity before she could talk to him again. Meanwhile with Naruto he was thinking about all the possibility to say to the Silvernet, like Kurama said, he could just tell her the truth or probably tell her some lies and tweaked a little bit of what happened to him and how he ended up in this world. Unconsciously his hand curled into a fist before a couple of seconds later a sigh of relief escaped from his mouth as the sound of ring bell entered their ears. Time's up, thank God, he cheered to himself and looked at the deadpanning Moka. So. I'm still waiting for you to answer my question, she growled in a demanding angry tone and approached him closer. The blonde widened and took a couple of steps back, but to no avail, the Silvernet managed to hold him from moving and pinned him on the wall. You've changed, she whispered unto his ears as her hand grazes his 6 birthmarks like whiskers. Not just body but mind too, you've experienced war, haven't you? She asked him with a smirk as the blonde widened. She actually read him like an open book. How was that even possible? Surprised about how I could read you like an open book? Don't be Uzumaki, I could tell the eyes of a warrior. Hell, my father and mother has experienced that, so I know. And don't try to lie, tell me Uzumaki, how did you end up in this school, let alone in this universe? Naruto gulped, sweats were dripping down his face. Deep inside Kurama and Shukaku were laughing like madmen. I like this girl already, ha ha ha. Kurama laughs rolling around the green grassy field followed by Shukaku, who was starting to have tears falling out of his eyes due to the uncontrollably laughter. There, let's see, well it's a pretty long story, do you really want to hear it, Moka? He asked in a low tone like whisper as the Silvernet nods and pressed her body on his, making him blush as he saw her smirking. I think I should start with what really happened after. The blonde wasn't able to finish his sentence as the door slammed open with a panting Tsukun standing on it. In his hands were 2 cans of juice tomato he hoped to share with Moka. Moka-san. The brunette yelled in surprise, his eyes were widening to the point it's going to come out of his socket as his hand dropped the juice cans. Damn him. The Silvernet mentally growled in anger as he sent the brunette a death glare, making him trembles in fear as he took a couple of steps back, hoping the mad vampiress wouldn't attack him. TCH fine, she nods to herself and looked back at the smiling Naruto. Damn that smile of his. You'll regret this, Uzumaki, the next time I am out I want answers and you to give me a full story. No promises. Naruto shook his head whilst crossing his arms with that smile still on his face. Is that so? Then what do you say about making a bet? The girl asked with her own smirk as he saw the blonde dropped his. This surely reminded him of that day where he fought her. Sure, what is it? He asked with his blue cerulean eyes piercing with confidence at the unnerved girl. Crimson black slit. He did that because he knew he never lost a bet. Hell, every time he made a bet with someone he will always win. Surely something like this won't make him lose, right? Fight me? Moka said and took her own fighting stance, followed by a slightly stepping away Naruto. Fight me like the old days, and if I win after this or whenever I'm out I wanted you to give me the full story, no lies, I hate liars, and if you try to deceive me you will forever lost my trust. But if I win? Naruto's eyes narrowed when he saw her smiling. You can do whatever you want with me. The Silvernet trailed off, her cheeks were burning red after comprehending what she has just said. The blonde didn't say anything, he doesn't know what to make out after hearing her say that, but it should be a good thing after all. He can order her not to ask him anything about his past, or he could ask her come to bed and have fun with him, or he could just tell her to do both. Ha. Jiraiya is probably laughing seeing how he acted like a total pervert. Are you sure? I mean I'm pretty strong, unlike the last time we fought each other, even though in the end I still won that fight, didn't I? Yeah you did, she hummed and was about to strike him when Tsukun stopped her. What do you think you're doing, human? She growled, causing the brunette to flinch as he looked at both of them nervously. I thinks it's best if you guys don't fight in the infirmary room. He trailed off unsure what else to say as Naruto nodded, followed by a huffing Moka. Come on, I know the perfect place where you guys can go out fighting each other to the fullest. Sure. They were now standing outside the school area, in the middle of a clearance, the school forest to be more precise. In the middle of a clearance stood 4 students, one of them has brown flat spiky hair, the other 2 has blonde spiky hair, and the last one being the only female with beautiful silver hair that reaches down to her knees. The perfect clone of one Uzumaki Naruto or Namikaze Naruto was staring at both competitors with narrowed eyes, while the brunette stayed on the sideline, observing the 3 of them. Aono Tsukun, a human that accidentally ended up in this school, a school full with monsters, and with him being the only human, never expected himself to end up in this situation. He wasn't happy per se because at the moment, just with his presence being here, Naruto has stolen Moka's attention away from his and to himself. If he didn't exist, he wondered to himself what will happen to him, but after seeing this side of Moka, her real self, he started to have a second thought. He have a crush with the Pinkette, but the Silvernet is in a whole other level, and just being near her presence their presence, he feels like a small ant with them being the human, and at any moment they could just step on him and killed him without remorse, or even dare to acknowledge his existence. Meanwhile Moka hummed silently as her thoughts went back to the past. When they're younger the blonde doesn't actually feels like a threat, no, he was weak very weak, but still he managed to catch her off guard and defeated her. Even if he played dirty she still respects that, after all a win is a win. But unlike her Coco disagrees, she sees the blonde as a weakling, and he will stay that way, as long as he is alive and she hated it. Even now she would always wonder why she actually loved him, he wasn't that special or anything, he was an orphan. No one knew anything about him, not even her, or maybe she was wrong, maybe he was someone important that played a huge role in his ninja career and parents from the royal side, but she will never know unless she could gain his trust again. Like the last time they met each other and her being his first friend. However, the Naruto she knew before was not like the current one standing in front of her with an impassive gaze. His eyes lacked the will he used to have before. No, it is still there, but she could see that it was slowly disappearing. It's like he doesn't have a will to fight anymore, and she knew that has something to do with him ending up here. But there was also that glimpsed moment where it showed her his sadness, his despair, his pleas for her to help him and restore the previous will he had. No matter what, I'll win this spar and get him to answer me. Meanwhile Naruto was thinking about a whole lot different matter, his impassive gaze was actually a cover. Deep inside he was talking with Kurama about this whole match, he asked some questions, but his partner refused, and just like that he is now back to reality with time barely pass and sent his clone a nod. The clone, who was being a referee, nodded his head, looking at the other side he gave Moka the same nod, which she returned straight away. Her bloods were boiling for a match, she wanted this, and no matter what happened, no matter how much Yokai she used, she will win. Give up, Moka, no matter what you try your percentage of winning this match is 0%, so please give up, I don't want to hurt you. Naruto pleaded, but the girl scoffed and crossed her arms. What was he thinking? Did he think she was that little girl who could easily catch off guard? No, she has gained experience, and she knew she will win unless Naruto has more tricks under his sleeve. You do know that no matter what happen I'll never give up. I'll get my answer and unravel your secret, Uzumaki. Well, I did warn you not to fight me. Naruto trailed off as the Silvernet clenched her hand, she could feel a throbbing mark appeared on her forehead as she sends Naruto the scariest death glare she could muster. BP, aren't you? Moka frowned. No, it's just a fact. Naruto smirked with confidence. The clone gave both competitors his own smirked, his hand was rising to the air before he moved it down and opened his mouth to proclaim. The match begins. Just like that, the clone jumped out of the way and grabbed the surprised Sukun before appearing and standing on a tree branch. Sukun was caught off guard when he did that, but he was even more surprised the moment he closed his eyes. He was standing on a tree branch with a perfect copy of Naruto. Who do you think will win the match? The brunette asked nervously with Naruto humming. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure, but what I know is that both of them are rusty. Hearing that, the brunette couldn't help himself but deadpanning. What about yourself? Aren't you rusty too? Of course I am, after all I'm a part of boss personality. He smiled and went back to look at both Naruto and Moka. So far no one made a move, both of them are still staring at one another, each one that is determined filled in it, whereas the other one lacked the will it usually has. Yeah, he knew who will lose now. Moka stayed silent, and that action was also followed by Naruto. The Silvernet sent him an annoyed look. Aren't you going to attack me? She asked in a taunting-like tone whilst her hand lifted up and gestured it for him to come at her. The blonde could feel his eyebrow twitched, the action she done reminded him of Sasuke. That guy was probably having fun talking with Konoha 11, it was supposed to be 12, but this time he was the one that went missing. Well, there is always that word, ladies first. The blonde smirked, this time it was Moka's eyebrow who twitched. The Silvernet didn't say anything, but instead continued observing him, he was calm surprisingly, his eyes were calculating the possibility of her attacking TCH, she needed to watch her step, or else she could get herself defeated. The blonde-hair shinobi smirked as he saw the Silvernet vampiress took her own fighting stance, her left fist were lower hanging on the side of her waist, with the other one still on that same, gestured for him to come and get her. Naruto sighed, was she stupid or something? The blonde blinked, and once he opened his eyes he gasped in pain and surprise when the air went out of him as he spat out saliva. Naruto widened, she just moved instantly, how the hell did she manage to strike him like that? It's supposed to be impossible. Kaguya, Sasuke and Madara are pretty fast than herself, and he could track them with ease, but this is outrageous. Moka managed to catch him off guard. But what surprised him even more is her punch. The strength behind her fist was probably stronger than Sakura or maybe Tsunade combined, and that proves when she just punched him with pure punch, there was no trace of her using her Yokai or anything that involves with the supernatural, and it hurt so fucking much. I told you to take things seriously. Moka warned with a smirk barely appeared on her face as she used her other fist to punch him in the chest. This time though Naruto has prepared the outcome and strengthened his ribs with his chakra protecting his internal organ, the same thing could be said with his skeletal as Moka narrowed when she saw her fist hissed and burned as it was covered in blue azure flames. Moka jumped a couple meters away from him, good she has managed to distance herself. Her eyes went down to look at her hissing fist, the flames has died down, but what surprised her is that her hand become unusable, maybe for a while, because her vampire healing rate started to work on it and healing it 100% making it usable. Her expressionless expression turned to anger as a frown appeared on her face. What was the blonde doing standing there and watching her with amusement? Did he really think she was weak like some little girl and decided to watch things out before went out and strike her? The girl hissed not from pain, rather it was from anger. Well that hurt you moron. Naruto blinked in surprise, he didn't expect out of all things to hear her saying that. What? You punched me that hurt a lot of more than those flames of mine. He countered hoping that would make her angry. If he managed to do that he'll win this fight with ease, or he could just go all out and went to Rakuto Senin mode on second thought it is not the best idea to go to that mode. He will be a god and no one can hope to defeat him tch he sounded arrogant there or maybe he has become arrogant. HMPH maybe but since when can you control flames? Let alone blue azure flames. Actually those flames reminded me of something. A twin-tailed Nico was it? Not quite she murmured to herself but even from this far away he could still hear everything she said. He was actually worried when the girl said a twin-tailed Nico, but that worry completely diminished when the girl shook her head and went back to her fighting stance. It does not matter. However I am happy that you have become strong. But still I'm curious about your dream. Did you somehow achieve them already? Because at the moment I could see and know how strong you're and I believe you're in fact a great candidate to be the 5th Hokage. There were 5 now actually. Naruto frowned, remembering Tsunade Bachan, she was a kind grandmother he could never ask for, and he wondered what happened to her after Sasuke released all of them out of Mugen no Tsukiyomi, it doesn't matter Moka. That dream the dream of being a Hokage I gave up on that some time ago. He said in a monotone-like tone whilst he gave her an expressionless expression. Moka widened from surprise, it's not about him giving up being a Hokage, or there's already 5 Hokage but what surprised her the most is that the blonde she knew that will never gave up has actually gived up. That strong will of his made her attracted to him, but after hearing that could she still feel the exact same thing, or let alone to befriend him, because at the moment she couldn't gain his trust and it made her frustrated. He was supposed to be her best friend, but after those damn humans that killed him or put him under a coma, the friend she once knew has changed to a new person. She didn't know anything about him other than his name and the little memory she have of her childhood time. I see then you're a liar. She stated in a fact-like tone as the blonde-haired shinobi rolled his eyes. Deep inside he still wanted to be the Hokage, but that dream of his will probably be unreachable because at the moment he was very far away from his home continent. The elemental nation doesn't exist here let alone its people. Naruto sighed as his mind slowly being derived away from the challenge match they have as Naruto started thinking about what happened to Konoha after the 4th Shinobi War ended. Has the village finished rebuilding and what happened to the Konoha 11-him? Is Sensei hot Aki Kakashi, has he also changed or still acted the same like when they're younger or like that time when he thought he lost Obito? Is right now Kakashi wasting his time standing behind the memorial stone whilst bowing his head in shame or sadness? What about Hinata? The girl has loved him like he was the world itself how is she right now? Hopefully she didn't kill herself because of not ending up with him and the last final thought went down to once again the village leader, Hokage. Who was in charge of the village now? Was it Kakashi or Sasuke or maybe Sakura? Whatever he has no choice to think in that matter because at that moment Moka disappeared in a blur of silver and appeared in Naruto's back. She was raising her legs and planned to do an axe kick, but Naruto spun around and intercepted it straight away by just using his hand, creating a gust of wind as his spiky hair sways alongside with her silver and black streaks hair. The silver hair vampire widened in surprise, that kick he managed to use his hand without enhancing it with chakra or that blue azure flames like it was nothing. She once again took a step back, but unlike last time where she stood a couple meters away from him, this time the moment she jumped away she quickly enhancing her feet with Yaki before doing the exact same thing and this time Naruto done it again and blocked her kick using his hand as her lips stretched and formed a small smirk as later the blonde-headed shinobi scream in pain whilst holding his hand hoping the pain would go away. Moka just looked the way he acted in amusement, no matter how cold or serious he acted deep inside, there's still that funny like child attitude of his, and that proves right when the blonde pouted and looked at her with a trail of tears leaving his eyes. The silver-headed vampire just rolled her eyes as she waited the blonde to calm down or hell this match wouldn't be fun. Meanwhile from the sideline Tsukun was a bit conflicted, he was worried if Naruto will win the match, because if he do he can do whatever he wanted to Moka, the outer Moka or the silver Moka, and he doesn't want that to happen. Hopefully God will answer his prayer and help him, so Moka would still be near his side, even though he knew since the beginning he will lose against Naruto. He has everything he doesn't have, Namikaze Naruto, he was handsome, powerful, and not a human being like him, or so he thought. But what mattered to him and confusing him the most is why Moka just standing there waiting for the childish acting Naruto to calm down. This is a tucking spar, and didn't she say that she wanted to unravel some secret from the blonde? Then why did she just, oh god no please no, was Moka actually taunting him to end the match quickly so he could reclaim his reward and have fun with her body? No, please Lord don't let that happen. What's wrong? Naruto's clone asked as his eyes averted to the worried young plain-looking teen. The brunette, not expecting to hear him speaking, gulped in surprise as he shakily turned his head to the side to look at the narrowing Naruto. I could feel lots of negative emotions coming from you. Will you please elaborate? It's nothing. Tsukun denied straight away. However, Naruto wasn't buying it but decided to drop that matter. Is that so? Yeah. He nodded straight away. Anyway, the reason I feel like that is probably seeing what Moka is doing. Shouldn't she use this chance to attack Namikaze-san now? And what had actually happened? What are you referring to with the last question? Sorry. Well, it's just that Namikaze-san blocked her heel like it was nothing, but this time how did she manage to hurt him? He corrected the question he has to Naruto clone, causing him to nod. Well, with the first question it's probably because Moka wanted to feel more challenging. Just look at her, she is hungry for battle. She was sealed inside that rosary for years, and with me the only who managed to release it made her feel excited to know there is someone that could push her further away to reach her limits. So yeah, and with the second question, it's probably because she wanted to use all her free time to fight the boss until that time come to an end. There's probably a time limit before she was forced to lose her conscience and eventually going back to the seal, and with the third question she used Yaki. It is pretty much similar like chakra, but there's no point of telling you anything about that. The clone smile. He doesn't want to give a full answer or the truth to a liar that could probably become a threat in the future. Luck was probably on the boss side now, because instead of the usual idiot clones this time, at the other side he was smart than those idiots that the boss would use to charge and collect information, or maybe this actually has something to do with how the boss change. The clone sighed before he nodded to himself and went back to watch the match between a shinobi and a vampire. The boss rose from the ground with one of his hand gone limp, whereas the other one ready to attack. HMPH, I expected you to be a challenge. Moka sneered at the furrowing eyebrow Naruto. As you can see, even though I am sealed I could match you in term of strength rather easily. However, sensing your chakra I could feel that it was matching my dad or maybe even stronger, and this keeps bothering me. Are you going easy on me? She asked in a dangerous tone that made Kurama and Shukaku shivered. You're dead, kid. Kurama shouted. Run, tucking idiot. Don't turn back. Run, and used Bijuu mode to evade. Shukaku alerted the twitching Naruto. I am stronger, there's nothing to be fear. Not even her. Naruto stated in an arrogant-like tone, causing the orange nine-tailed fox to roll his eyes. You sure you didn't sounded like Madara there? However, I couldn't care less because I know how strong you're, Naruto. But you need to realize this, your power is out of control. You need to control your chakra again and use your free time to train instead of sulking. Even so, with the power of the Sage of the Six Paths no one could match you, and that worries me the most. There's nothing to be worried about, Kurama. Naruto denied, shaking his head in disapproval as in reality the blonde done a backflip to invade one of Moka's kick. He continues to dodge her assaulted until he tripped. He tripped over a small stone. Tucking stone, I will eradicate. It's over. Learn your place. Moka shouted and poured a portion of her Yaki on her fist, enhancing the power behind it as Naruto brought his hand together in an X position and strengthened his muscle using his chakra with a trail of golden shroud protecting his face as her fist met it. The blonde widened as he was being blown away by the sheer of power behind her punch. Surprisingly, it has more power than he thought as a bloods trickled down his face. Moka scoffed. TCH, and here I thought that will stop this match. Well, tough luck, Moka, because I will win this match. HN, you sure about that? 100% accurate. Naruto smirked as he and Moka run to engage one another. Their fists were covered by chakra and Yaki, enhancing their punch as they first met one another. Naruto grinded his teeth, followed by Moka, as each of them tried to win the battle that was currently occurred. Naruto soon was skidded across the ground as Moka poured a little bit more of her Yaki, making it even stronger. Naruto, who was hiding his true skill, was getting frustrated. Why is it so hard for him to beat someone like her? She was supposed to be below him, and okay, he sounded arrogant there. Think clear, Naruto. Ah, that's right, Sage mode. The blonde closed his eyes, ignoring the look of curiosity coming from Moka as his closed-lidded eyes were colored in orange. One moment he was skidding, the next it was her turn to be thrown away from Naruto. Kagabunshin no jutsu. Naruto exclaimed, bringing his finger together and formed the T sign. Two puff of smokes appeared as two perfect clone of Naruto was created. The real Naruto opened his palm as the other two done the work, and soon the silent morning forest were filled with screeching sound, alerting those who was at the moment stamping their worst enemy, paperworks. The man rose from his seat and quickly used his fist to create a wall that was fit enough for him to rush, and hopefully will get there in time. What was that idiot thinking? He shouldn't create a mess, no, he ordered him to protect the school, not the other way around. Let's just hope whatever technique he will use it is not a S-rank jutsu. If he did, I pity those who will gotten hit by a fearsome S-rank jutsu, he prayed silently as he rushed towards the clearance in a blur. Naruto grinned as he threw the 4-point star wind technique towards the surprised Moka as she done a backflips in midair, completely dodging the technique. However, her eyes widened to the core, it was going to come out of her socket. The moment her feet touched the ground, she poured her Yokai to evade the fearsome technique of one Rasen Shuriken. As she escaped, she was quickly blown away when a dome of wind was created, shredding everything that trapped under its power. The two clones disappeared in a puff of smokes as the real Naruto sighed. He has missed that power. Well, he did that in purpose anyway. He doesn't want to kill Moka, after all she was his first friend beside Koko Shuzen. Where is she anyway? I admit that surprised me. The startled one Akashi Moka commented, making him grin in delight to hear her praising him. However, what you did is unforgivable. You tried to kill me. She growled in anger as her Yokai flared, making Naruto sweat bullets. You survived, didn't you? He asked, hoping that would calm her anger. No tucking way that will make me stop from beating you to a pulp. She growled as she clenched her hand into a fist and punched them on her open palm. A sickening grin stretched on her lips as her eyes glare at the nervous Naruto. He knew he could match her and defeat her, but somehow the way she acted reminded him of his mother. Uzumaki Kushina, he just met her once, but he could easily describe her as one of the scariest kunoichi ever exists, and Moka could be one of them. What about blood? Naruto asked in a whisper-like tone as he unbuttoned his shirt and showed her his neck. The vampire loves blood, so there is a chance that will stop her from her madness. Seriously, did he really try to kill her using the Rasen Shuriken? Damn, when I said I like this girl, I think I started to fall for her. Kurama sneered, sending a glance at the laughing Shukaku, who was probably enjoying this match and recording it with that 4-point star eyes of him. Well, he's tucked up, brother. The one-tailed raccoon nodded, still laughing. He sure is. The fox smirked as his eyes stare at the nervous Naruto with amusement. Well, your blood is delicious, Moka admitted in a low husky tone, causing him to feel a shiver running down his spine and pray to God that she will come to his term. However, that won't stop me from beating you. Any last words? She asked in a sadistic grin. Naruto smirked as he brought his palm together and flared his chakra. The blue spiritual energy was soon intertwined with red demonic energy, and a golden shroud was slowly formed. But whatever he was going to do, his body was forced to evade an incoming attack, making the unknown figure to cough. I thought I told you to protect the school, not create a mess, the headmaster stated in a low, dangerous tone. Nothing happened. Look, everything is, he trailed off as his eyes widened when he saw the state of the forest. Broken trees scattered everywhere, a large deep crater much like the battle he had with Kakuzu were there, dead animals were found there. Wait, there's animals here. Okay, I'm sorry. The blonde apologized while scratching the back of his head. The headmaster nodded. It is fine. However, he was soon interrupted when an angry Moka thrown him away and tackled the surprised Naruto down to the ground. Her body was now on top of his as her eyes were covered by the bangs of her hair. Naruto gulped as his hand tried to push her away. The keyword. Tried. Naruto-kun, he heard her faint low voice. There was no trace of anger, nothing but sadness. You're an idiot, you know. She stares at him with a small smile as a stream of tears escaped from her eyes and traveling down her cheeks. I miss you for years. I would always think and wonder if you survive, and to see here was the happiest moment I could remember since, well, childhood. She cried in a kind low tone, forcing Naruto to give up from pushing her away. But the emotion you send me, it angered me to know how much you have changed. You're different and I don't like it. I wanted that side of yours here again, Naruto-kun. I am sorry. Naruto bowed his head down in a shame, causing her to smile as the silvernet vampirus went down to his neck and well bit him. Ow, that hurt. Naruto squeaked in surprise as the vampirus ignored him and sucks the blood out of his neck. Unlike last time, this time Naruto just smiled and sent his clone a nod. The once crater and scattered trees were fixed like nothing has happened. Dead animals were revived as the clone nodded, appreciated his own technique before dispelling. Sukun was gobsmacked as his head frantically looked around the forest. How did he do all that? He shouted in surprise and confusion as the sighing headmaster walked towards the confused human. Easy, he used chakra. Damn it, I wanted to hear a full explanation, not that kind of well information. Haha, you better get used to it, kid. Another figure landed beside him. It was the tucking bus driver. Yo. I was curious when I felt that tremor from the far distance, and those two are dangerous. Lucky you have them in your side. Yeah, I guess. The brunette nodded, giving Naruto a slight of respect look before it went down to hatred. But with him, Moka-san will never notice me, he whispered in sadness, causing the bus driver to furrow one of his eyebrow. Well, put your personal feeling aside. No matter what you do, you cannot separate them, the bus driver warned the human as Tsukun nodded and decided to look away. The silver Moka was attractive, but she was scary, and the thought of her laughing with Naruto feels like the blonde was challenging him. Whatever it took, he will have her and him the only one who will heard that laugh. That caring soft tone of the inner Moka, and above all earning their loves. Moka was in heaven as the taste of his once delicious bloods entering her throat, it was warm and tasty. The blood itself replenished the yaki she has lost in the spar she has with him, and every second that passed making her mind hazy as the only thing appeared on her mind was Naruto and his delicious bloods. The silvernet could feel heat spreading across her cheeks as she let her fangs out and licked the last remaining bloods that were glued on her lips. How was it? He asked her with a smile. Moka of course ignored it as she surprisingly done something out of her character. She was approaching his cheek and planted a kiss there. What was that for? Naruto flushed in surprise and embarrassment at the sudden action that was made by her, causing her to chuckle as she tried all her best to hide the blush that's spreading across her cheeks. For what had happened today. I enjoyed the short spar, Naruto-kun, and I hope when the time comes you will give me a full explanation, because as you know no one win this spar. That's mean I cannot demand you to answer or you to do anything with my body. She sent him a seductive smile, causing the blonde to gulp. On the sideline both headmaster and bus driver was crying and I'm tears. Lucky bastard. Ah then. SSHH, you don't need to say more than that, Foxy-kun. Now see you next time. Until then please take care of the sentimental Moka and get her away from danger. She put her fingers on his lips whilst her other hand went down to her skirt pocket and took out the rosary before putting it back on its place. The silver-headed vampire sent Naruto a sad smile. She was hoping the blonde would understand what she was trying to say. However, it doesn't seem like her hope will come anytime soon, and to have him answering to her feeling she needed to tell the outer Moka to fix that damn problem of his and probably be there for him until they become one again. But the sound of something clicked, her body started doing some changes as the pink hair Moka appeared in an unconscious form. Well, I guess I better take her to the infirmary room. Naruto chuckled from amusement thinking about how this whole mess started and flashed away. Well, what do you think about all that, Mikagami? He sure is a pretty interesting kid, Narari. But his power, I am sure no one of his generation could match it, and I'm pretty sure he will play a large role if someone actually managed to release the seal that was binding Alucard, and if those times indeed came I hope that we have him on our side. Yeah, I hope so too. The bus driver nodded as his mind went back to the past where they fought Alucard alongside Akasha Bloodriver, the mother of Akashi Moka. Their minds started wondering about what actually happened with her. No, that's not it, the real question is she even alive? Oh, now I remember. What is it? The curious bus driver asked. He could be my successor. The headmaster cheered, making him deadpan. Are you sure? He asked with uncertainty filled his tone. I mean he. Pretty sure. The headmaster nodded, interrupting whatever he was going to hear. If you say so, the man nodded as they quickly left the forest and went back to their respective jobs. Two black brick building colored in white that stands about 4 stories high, located in the middle of a clearing surrounded by trees. From there a couple meters straight without turning left or right, you can see a cliff, and below was a red colored ocean, much like blood itself. The dorm was a unique one. It took an image of horror movies reminding you of Frankenstein or the Dracula, giving off a strange and creepy aura just by looking at it. However, even if it looks like haunted inside, the dorm was actually cozy, as the hall has black carpet on it, traveling from one side to the other, and on the wall were some paintings along with mirrors. Each floor also has their own bathroom. It was designed like that by the unknown, so the students wouldn't be late. The inside was colored in black, making it darker than the outside, though orange lamps enlightened the inside of the dorm. Inside a certain room inside the dorm, we could see Naruto sleeping on the bed, hugging a bolster pillow with drools coming out of his mouth as he was dreaming about eating an endless of ramen. It was so delicious that he starts mumbling something out of his mouth, much to the people's amusement if they had seen him like this now. However, every good thing must come to an end as the sound of an alarm clock entering his ears. The sound it made making him releasing out a groaning sound as the blonde uses covered his ears by using the pillow below his head. Even so, the sound of its ringing still lingering in his ears as it became louder and louder, telling him to wake up no matter how long it takes. Naruto, who was still in a half-asleep state, released out another groan as he extends his hand towards the clock. His hand were frantically moving around trying to locate the clock and finding the button that should turn the alarm clock off. Damn clock. He growled as he smashed it by releasing a gust of wind, which made the clock flew to the wall, breaking it once it made impact. There. He sighed in relief as he turned around facing the white-painted wall and closed his eyes, once again trying his best to catch a little more of sleep time that got ruined by the clock. Yesterday, after the spar he has with Moka, he hadn't returned to his dorm. Not for a couple of hours anyway. It was an order given by Kurama. The orange nine-tailed fox has told him what to do and what to work on. It was tiresome and he was very exhausted after the training schedule given by the fox, and especially the time it took for him to finish the training. He returned at the boys' dorm and arrived in his own room at 2:00 AM in the morning. It was hell, and by hell he means he was fighting Kurama with only his senjutsu and his other techniques, no special modes like the Rakudo Senin mode or the help of Kurama's siblings' chakra. It was a tough battle, much like the one when he plans to separate Kurama's chakra from his will. Even though it was tough and all, he managed to win the battle without the help of his mother, of course. The training was tough, or so that's what Kurama called it. That damn fox almost killed him thrice if he hadn't uses the body flicker technique. Then after he left his mindscape and returned to the outside world, he soon collapsed, his face planted on the ground with half eyes closed as he unable to stand up properly. That occurs for a couple of minutes before his healing factors kicked in, healing his external injuries and a bit of his internal injuries, since the internal one took more time than the external. Nevertheless, he's still able to return to the boys' dorm and entering his room to get some sleep. In the end, I couldn't sleep. He sighed out of annoyance and looked at the clock he has just smashed. Why did Mikagami put that clock inside my room again? He muses out loud before he cleaned up the mess and took a shower, ready to go to school, even if his body feels sore and tired. After taking a nice cold shower and wearing his school uniform, Naruto prepare an instant ramen using a certain ability of Sun's that heating the instant ramen at a quicker pace, even so it only decreased a minute, and if he dares to try more, lava would shot up out of his ramen cup and eventually burning the boys' dorm. Then after that he drank a glass of milk and summoned a clone to bring his school bag to him and put books in it along with the materials that the school needed. While eating the cup of ramen and enjoying the quiet scenery, Naruto's eyebrow twitched the moment he heard the sound of people chattering, laughing, growling, etc. So they actually woke up at a certain time before school, huh? He mused as his mind wonders if they're actually monsters or pretend to be one. Even the humans in Konoha tend to be late if the case was school. Don't you mean you're the only human that's late? Kurama butted in, making his eyebrow furrowed as he started remembering the old days where he usually went to the ninja academy late because of a certain matters and the glares he received from the villagers. Hey. You can't blame me for that. Naruto pouted as he stuck out his tongue. Beside, after I graduated things changes and Kakashi-sensei was the only person that late to the team meetings or training or whatever he ordered us to do. The blonde counters back before he clicked his mouth shut, remembering something. Aside, if you cooperate earlier before the Fourth Great Shinobi War, this would never happen anyway. Are you telling me that you regretted seeing Akashi Moka again? Of course not. He denied as his cheeks reddened the moment he remembers that scene after the spar ended. Moka was just so pretty that the world around him feels like it actually stopped for a couple of seconds. She just that, stunningly beautiful and of course a little mean and scary. Yes, scary somehow. Just thinking about her scary part reminded him of how his mother in her anger mode. You're doubting yourself, Naruto. Kurama huffed as he crossed his arms and watches Naruto put the ramen cup in the trash bin before grabbing his school bag and walk towards the door. Do I need to remind you that you were quite mad when Moka actually managed to go toe-to-toe with you? DCH, and how many times do I need to tell you that I am mad at myself, not at her? Retorted Naruto, though Kurama stayed silent, making the blonde sigh as he opened the door, then closing and locking it before walking away with hands in his pocket as he walking passing the undisguised monster that was still wearing a half uniform or strapped in towel. Some were even glancing at him in amazement, seeing him already in school uniform and also in a human form. Hey, that's Namikaze, Naruto. One of them whispered at his friend, who has a big smile on his face before it turned into a frown, and looking towards his friend who was looking confused at hearing the Naruto's name. Huh? I never heard of him. Was he also a freshman like us or actually our senior? His friend questioned as he sent the blonde the longest glance, since he was interested of knowing who he truly is and his true form, although he scowled when he saw how handsome Naruto is. You haven't heard of him? His friend retorted, looking kind of confused before he remembers the rumor he heard from the people of Naruto's homeroom. Of course no one could blame you. Apparently he lost his consciousness the moment Akashi Moka hugged him. I heard from Aono-san that he was her childhood friend, or so that's what he said. What? Is that for real? the closest monster who apparently heard of their conversation as he butted in and sends Naruto a glare and sees him walking out of the dorm with hands in his pocket, not even caring if they're talking about him. Man, talk about arrogance, I don't like him. He concluded, crossing his arms as the two of them nodded. Yup, there's no way we would be friends with someone like him. The both of them said at the exact same time before shrugging their shoulder and continued walking through the hallways and send each other goodbye as each of them took separated ways and entered their own given room. Aono Tsukun was having the worst day of his life, especially when he is the only human that attends a school filled with monsters. It was the worst and all, but then he got a friend. She was a pretty one, a girl with long pink hair and is a vampiress. Not just that, she had a split personality that acted very different than the girl he knew of. Unlike the Silverette, the Pinkette was kind, caring, and friendly, and many more that attracts people attention to like her and wanting to be her friends. However, well, that's the truth, the Silverette has a hidden emotion that she only showed it to a certain someone that was handsome than him and also a monster, or so that's what he thought. Needless to say, he was angry. Why, you must ask? To answer that question, he's never actually been friends with a girl, let alone a kind and pretty one. He thought that at least he could steal her attention away from the other boys and making her liking him. However, that thought was nothing but a stupid dream. Namikaze Naruto, or Uzumaki Naruto, was what he heard from the silver-haired Moka, has managed to steal Moka's attention away not just from the other boys, but also him. Damn it, and here I thought I could at least enjoy the school more if Moka-sen was at my side. He gritted his teeth as he stopped from walking to the road of Yokai Academy and took out a paper that was given by Mikagami Tenmei, the school principal, after he has witnessed the friendly spar. He examined the paper as he read it not just once, but thrice, his right foot were tapping the dirt like a rhythm of music as his mind debates within himself whether he should just sign the paper and drop out from the school and start the same grade like last year, or he could just stay in here for a couple of months so he doesn't need to start the same grade since it's embarrassing. Damn it, what the hell should I do? He thought, gripping the paper tightly. Should I just leave this school, leave Moka-san and go back to the human world? No, I don't want to leave yet. Wait, should I even stay here? What's the point of staying? Moka-san doesn't even love me, let alone like me. He trailed off in his monologue as an image of a smiling Moka holding Naruto's hand. If he hadn't come to this school, I might actually have had a little chance. Damn you, Namikaze Naruto. Unknown to him, Naruto was actually standing a couple meters away from him. His eyes were mainly on the paper he was holding in his hands. Needless to say, he was quite interested of seeing what's written on that paper. Even so, he doesn't plan to just stand there and decided to be friendly, like the old days where he always goofs around at the people he knows. But now he know that couldn't happen, not after what happened at the 4th Great Shinobi War, and not when he is separated from the rest of his teammates and friends. The blonde-haired shinobi quickly brushed those thoughts away from his head. He has planned not to think about Konoha or the elemental nation, not for now anyways. He knows that it will take some time until the headmaster made those special key that will eventually takes him back to Konoha, and the only thing he could do now is just waiting patiently. Oh hey there, Tsukun. Greeted Naruto, sending him a friendly hand gesture, making the brunette turns around to look at him with a rather annoyed expression, though he tried to hide it, but the blonde still noticed it. Still, he decided to stay quiet and just smile at him. Speak of the devil, why the hell are you here standing right beside me? He groaned out of displeasure, making the blonde's furrowed his eyebrow, but still say nothing about the way he acts around him, since pretty much they doesn't know each other. So Tsukun, what the hell are you doing standing there staring at that white paper? I wonder what's in it, Naruto asked out of curiosity, deciding to get to know more about him or to answer his curiosity. Nothing really, he answered. Honestly, that was a lie. Anyway, Naruto-san, what happened to you? And what do you mean by that? Tsukun hummed as he examined the blonde. You look like in pain. You look even better after the spar than this, he said as he remembered that all the injuries Naruto got from Moka was healed at a quick pace that even in par with Moka herself. Don't tell me you fight someone else or the headmaster beats you almost to death because of you misbehaving at this school. Headmaster beat me? Naruto asked, releasing a low chuckle before those chuckles turned into laughter. Ha ha ha, don't joke around with me, Tsukun, you might be surprised of what I am capable of. Naruto grinned, releasing a rather chilly sensation that sends a shiver running down his spine, as the only thing the brunette could do was actually nodding his head. So may I see what's written on that paper? Asked Naruto in a rather happy tone which made him sweat dropped. Is he a bipolar or what? Tsukun thought as he put the paper in his pocket. Sorry, Naruto-san, but that paper was given straight by the headmaster to me, and he told me not to give this piece of paper to anyone, even if they're my most trusted person, he reasoned out as Naruto nodded his head and was about to walk away when he heard the sound of someone panting. Naruto? Tsukun-san. The familiar voice greeted with kindness and was rather in a high-pitched tone, making both males to turn around and looked at the panting Akashi Moka. Moka-san, Tsukun yelled out in surprise, though he calmed down the moment Moka sent him a friendly hand waves and a smile that brought his world to happiness. Good morning, he greeted with his own smile. Good morning, Tsukun-san. Moka smiled before her attention turned to the smiling Naruto. And good morning to you too, Naruto. Morning, Naruto nodded his head as he stares at the rather exhausted Moka. What's gotten into you, Moka? Don't tell me that you… She hummed, interrupting Naruto as she sends him a rather cute expression that made Naruto to stare at her expression for a couple of seconds before brushing it off quickly as possible and continued what he couldn't finish. You have been training. Haha, of course not, silly. Moka shook her head, taking those thoughts away from the Naruto head as the blonde sent her a rather awkward nods as the pink cat continued. It's just that I would never think to actually meet the both of you early in the morning before school started. I was so excited that I rushed here thinking that the both of you would go to school without even noticing me. Moka-san was glad to see me early in the morning. A surprised Tsukun blushes as the thought of himself dropping out of Yokai Academy was completely banished out of his head as the only thing appeared in his head was the image of a beautiful Akashiya Moka. Naruto simply furrowed an eyebrow at the thought of her stamina was kinda disappointing. Is this even the vampirus he drew in yesterday's spar? Is this the vampirus he believed almost in par with himself? You're tired already? Your stamina is weak, and here I thought you're a vampire, Naruto spoke out before he shut his mouth tightly with eyes widened in surprise as those words came out of his mouth without even him realizing it. The pink-haired Moka widened in surprise as those emerald green eyes rolled down in sadness, those words he has just said entering her ears and repeating itself, making her holding onto those tears as memories of the past resurface. However, she braces herself not to cry as the only thing that came out of her was a sniffling sound. Moka, I didn't mean to say that. I swear. Naruto quickly apologized, realizing what he had just said. Damn it, what is wrong with me? It's fine, the pink cat nodded as she tried her best to give him a kind and caring sweet smile, but to no avail, she couldn't do it as the only thing she could do was giving him a sad smile as she closed her eyes, unable to look at Naruto for a couple of seconds before she opened them, showing the blonde a rather crystal emerald green eyes. You're an idiot. Madara commented. You and Kurama are the same host, and Jailer acted like an idiot when they're around girls. What? Naruto asked as he could feel tick marks appeared at the back of his head. That was a mistake, I swear. I'm not that bad when I'm around girls, I'm right, aren't I, Kurama? HMPH, such comments, Madara, how many times do I need to tell you that they cried because of their own free will? Kurama defended himself, leaving Naruto with his own mess as the two-tailed Nekomata rolled her eyes. Keep telling yourself that. Now why don't we just go to school? Asked Moka, interrupting the blondes from talking with Ibiju and also making him realize how tough he is, though he nods his head and took a step ahead just in case Moka needs more time to go back to her own self as he left the both of them alone. Moka was about to continue her way to school until she was interrupted by Tsukun. Moka-san, I heard that the school have clubs, what do you think about it? Are you interested in joining one of the clubs available in the academy? Clubs? She muses as the thought of joining a club was a joke. At the middle school, no matter what she did, people would always abuse her. Bullying her and doing many unpleasant stuffs because of her acts a bit different from the rest of them, but this is a school for monsters, so there is no harm of actually joining a club. Maybe, just maybe, she could go into the same club as Naruto and gets to know him more. Yes, clubs, Tsukun nodded. You know, the activities humans do in their free times, like swimming, playing football, and many fun activities. Are you by any chance interested of joining it? Well, Moka started. I'm not good at physical activities, I have weak stamina and I hate water, she trailed of, unsure about the last part. She knows it's important to inform the people around her about vampire weakness, but somehow even if she met Tsukun at her first day before Naruto, she still couldn't trust him. Strangely, she trusts Naruto more, but the reason behind is maybe because of the relationship her inner self had with the blonde. Needlessly to say, she was left confused as of why someone like her who doesn't know anything about Naruto or even remembering him was suddenly feels the need of being nearing his presence. It's like their personality going to merge, and the thought of that terrifies her. What would happen if she suddenly disappears, like she never even exists in the first place? How would the people she knew reacted once she disappears? What's going to happen with her future? Was everything she'd done in the past and even up until now been for nothing? Moka-san? Inquired a worried Tsukun as he waves his hand at the front of her eyes, waiting for the pink cat to respond. Did you say something? She asked as she looks at the brunette with a nervous smile. Well, I was just asking if you plan to join any of the clubs available in this academy. I hate clubs, sorry Tsukun-san, but I need to go. She quickly brushed those questions off as she ran ahead, passing the confused Tsukun. What's that all about? He questioned to himself. Moka-san sure was confused and seems nervous when I asked her that, but why did she brush me off like that? Does this have something to do with Naruto? I hope not. I mean, what's so special about him? What's the reason the silver-haired Akashi Moka liking him so much to the point he could do anything with her body? Those questions were left unanswered. Uzumaki Naruto, or now is known by the name of Namikaze Naruto with many monikers, with the latest one being Child of the Prophecy, was lazily staring at his classroom as he shifted back towards the open window, showing the blonde the beautiful weather outside of the classroom, before it shifted back to look at the blonde-hair teacher, Shizuka Nekonim, his homeroom teacher. A couple minutes ago she has arrived at their classroom and gave him a chair to sit and a desk somewhere near side Moka. It was more as a luck than a curse as he could hear them groaning and sending a death glare towards his direction, but he shook them easily and without a care took a sit on his seat. Even so, Shizuka-sensei was staring at the classroom for a couple of minutes sitting on her seat before her hand grabbed her bag and took out a chalk. The blonde-haired woman rose from her seat and stands up right beside her desk. "Before I begin," Shizuka started as her eyes was now onto his, a smile was grazing upon her lips as she closes her eyes in Kakashi manners, making him sigh knowing what she plans to do. "I would like Namikaze-san to come forward and introduce himself. Basically this is his first day since yesterday he fainted and I'm pretty sure everyone in here wanted to know about you." Naruto tsk as he rose from his table and walking towards the friendly, kind and caring smile of Shizuka Nekonim. Of course he ignores the whispering from the people around him since pretty much they're nothing but a cannon fodder. "So sensei, what kind of self-introducing would this be?" inquired Naruto, staring at her eyes waiting for her to respond as he stood beside her with a hand in his pocket. Shizuka clasped her hands as she started pouting, making her somehow look cute in the eyes of a couple students within the room. Hell, he could even heard them whispering at one another at Shizuka-sensei's action. Naruto merely furrowed his eyebrow at their reaction but didn't say anything as his attention goes back to the still thinking teacher. "Well sensei?" Naruto called out, breaking her out of her thought as the Nico teacher hummed before her head nods. "Tell us your name, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, your dreams and above all the reason why you joined Yokai Academy." She chirped happily as everyone inside the classroom nods in agreement. Some of them, mainly girls, were excited of knowing Naruto's likes and hobbies, whereas the boys scoffed, though deep inside they're curious about this Naruto. "Damn, out of all thing why must history repeat itself?" scowled the blonde before he closed his eyes, then taking a deep breath and releasing it a couple of seconds later. "Alright, no problem, this should at least make them satisfied. I know you're watching this, Moka. Pay attention." Inner Moka spoke. "Okay." The Pinket replied in a whispering tone as her eyes locked at the deep in thought Namikaze Naruto. Naruto hummed, his eyes were moving around the room watching everyone that was staring at him with either a kind smile or those of the mocking. "My name," he started as memories of the past flashes. "Namikaze Naruto, I like many things. And one of those things is ramen. I hate many things, and my dream is far away beyond my reach, for now at least, and the reason why I came here is." The blonde paused as his eyes locked into Moka. "There's nothing really." The class became silent, everyone wasn't sure what to except from hearing his introduction, though a couple seconds later he could hear the sound of girls screaming, while some of the boys groans out in displeasure and hears their comments about his introduction being kinda cool. "What the hell? I'm sure that doesn't exactly sound like Sasuke, because I plan to make it sound like Kakashi-sensei," the blonde muses, and folding his arms before he looked towards his teacher, who was standing beside him with a smile still on her face. "So sensei, how was the introduction?" She hummed and folded her arms under her fists, the smile were still on her face as she ponders what to give about the Naruto's introduction. "Well, it's good, but I think you need to open up and tell more about yourself. Nevertheless, you have done what I had told you to do. Now Namikaze-san, you can go back and sit on your seat." "Of course, sensei." Naruto nods his head as he took a step forward and walking down the path towards his table. Once he was seated, Shizuka-sensei is walking towards the blackboard and started writing something on it. "Now I'm pretty sure Namikaze-san already knows the fact this school is for monster. Its solely purpose is for humans and monsters to coexist with one another," she explained as the blonde nodded, though he was curious of what's going to happen if a monster attend to this school, but still he shut his mouth tight and pay attention as the woman draws something on the board. "I actually forgot about this, but there are some rules students must follow, and one of them are no matter what circumstances you're in, you always need to be in your human form until graduation. That's basically you need to be in disguise, even after you're awoke from a sleep." "No way, that's impossible, sensei," a certain student complained. "Yes. There's no way any of us could do that," another one joined it. "But this rule is already." She was interrupted by Naruto as the blonde rose from her seat, making those around him to look at him out of curiosity. "Actually, you can do exactly what she just said. All you need to do is practice and a lot of focus. I am sure even someone like Tsukun could do exactly what she meant." Naruto reasoned out, making those who has complained to stay silent and nod their heads in defeat. The blonde smirked at their defeat before his attention was locked with a disguised Nekomata. Sensei, what would happen if a human joined this school? Shizuka hummed before she frowned. They'll get killed in the spot, that's the rule made by the principal. Sukun pale and Naruto pale after they heard what she has just said. That's stupid. Protested the blonde. You just told us that this school is for monsters and humans to coexist with one another, but then what's the point if such rule was placed once a human or in another case humans joined this school? Before Shizuka could answer his question, a person sitting next to Sukun rises from his seat as he slammed his hand on the table. Hey blondie, are you an idiot or what? Such lowly creatures doesn't deserve to go to this school, hell they're all good for nothing, well the male population anyway, but I'm pretty sure some of you agree at the fact those humans also have some good qualities, like for example being our sex slaves. Explained the person, his name was Saizu Kamiya. At hearing his explanation Naruto gritted his teeth in anger as a small portion of his killer intent washed the whole classroom, making the brunette to tremble in fear, though a grin replaced his tight-shut lips as once again he spoke out about his opinion on humans. Why are you getting so worked up, huh? If you love those humans you must be one of them, are you not? Naruto glared but he didn't say anything, instead the blonde took a deep breath as the killer intent faded, making those who are afraid to sigh in relief. Sukun was beyond unconscious as the brunette quickly rubs his sweat away and slumped on his seat, sighing in relief. Damn that Naruto, he's so scary. I wonder if I really have a chance to win Moka's heart, he thought, sending the pink at a glance before his attention went back to Naruto, Shizuka and Saizu, a person he had known since yesterday because of the threat he just gave him to stay away from his crush. Calm down Namikaze-san and Kamiya-san. Frantically yelled out Shizuka as she staring at both boys in worries. Now to answer your question Namikaze-san, that kind of rule was made even before I became a teacher of this academy pretties, much that's a law made by the headmaster after the school established. I am not too sure of what happened but I think it have something to do with the one who's funding the school. What's that supposed to mean? Both male asked at the same time, making them both glaring at one another, though they didn't say anything, and instead staring at their homeroom teacher, waiting for her to answer his pretty much their question. Let's see, well I think it's best if you ask the principal himself. She suddenly clasped her hand, sending them a smile that kind of pissing the hell out of Naruto, though he nodded his head and sitting down on his chair with a distant look on his face, making a certain vampiress to look at him in concern. Are you okay, Naruto? Moka whispered loud enough for the blonde to hear. Yes, I am fine, he assured her by giving her a smile. Though I am curious of the headmaster reason, I mean I'm sure humans are not that bad, you know what I mean, right? What's wrong? Naruto asked, but all he received was a smile as the pink-haired vampiress turned her attention back towards the female teacher. Strange, the blonde thought, though he shrugged it off in paying attention at his sensei lectures. The class they had with Shizuka has ended, it was boring and not so useful lesson. Nevertheless he was patient enough to pay attention and not drift asleep. Now after the class has ended he was eventually dragged alongside Moka and surprisingly Tsukun. So where are we going? Asked Naruto. Well, I'm not sure. Replied the pinkette with a smile, making both male to sweat dropped. But since we didn't have the chance to see the school after yesterday's spar, I think it's best if we explore the school. That's a good idea, Moka-san. A frowning Tsukun nods his head. Although that's a good idea, what do you think will happen if we miss our next lesson? I'm not sure. She pouted, she was actually thrilled to know more about this school. But I'm sure the teacher wouldn't mind if we explore the school now because this is our first day. I'm not so sure about. Let's do it. Naruto sighed, folding his arms as he couldn't take any more of the stupid drama between the two. It's fine. Alright. Cheered Moka, enjoy grabbing Naruto's and Tsukun's hand as she drags them around the school, getting to know more about it. The journey was however ended when both sides couldn't continue. Naruto was tired and he was sure Tsukun is beyond losing his conscience. Let's stop for now. A panting Tsukun spoke as he rested on one of the pillars that supported the corridor. He was breathing hard along with dizziness that made the world around him feels uncomfortable. Damn it, Moka, I need to take a rest. A tired Naruto groaned, he swear he have more stamina, but the reason why he was this tired is because the last night training he has with Kurama and from a lack of sleep. Ooh, okay then. Moka nods, staring at both boys with amusement. Why don't you guys take a rest while I brought you guys a can of juice? She suggested. Sure. Tsukun nodded alongside Naruto, but unlike the brunette he only lifted his right hand, giving her a thumb up as Moka nodded as she goes to the closest vending machine and left the boys with each other. Darn, Moka-sen is crazy. I guess Naruto nodded as his mind wandered to yesterday's spar. So Tsukun, what do you think of humans? What do you mean? A terrified Tsukun asked, he was shaking in fear at the thought of Naruto finding out he was a human. I mean exactly what I meant, what do you think of them? Well, I think they're not a bad species yes that's right, even if we yokai hate them, I think this school could help the problems between yokai and humans. The brunette explained as best as he can. I see that's actually a good reason. Naruto smirked making him gulped. I was actually thinking the way you acted and after hearing me ask that are you by any chance a human being? What? He asked in fear and uncertainty whether to answer the blonde question. It could either be yes or a no and this is probably the best chance since it seems Naruto doesn't seems like that kind of bad person. Well don't lie. To tell you the truth I can actually feel people emotion, it's ranging from negative to positive and at this moment I can tell you're afraid, uncertain, shocked, nervous and many more that describe you're indeed a human, but instead of telling me the truth you tried to act like you're a part of the yokai. Naruto mused as he stares at the priceless expression of one Aono Tsukun. That's stupid. Tsukun yelled outrage, frustration, nervous and above all shocked. His expression was those of bewilderment as his right hand curled into a fist, trembling slightly under the pressure. Instead of saying anything Naruto just stare at the brunette, he already know the fact Tsukun is a human, but this is his chance to say it, since pretty much they're alone. I'm a human, happy. Tsukun sighed in defeat making the blonde chuckled. Haha I see. What? You're not going to kill me? Of course not idiot, that's because I'm a human too. Hang. The both of them widened in surprise as they saw a bewilderment Akashi Moka standing a couple meters away from them. Moka, what's wrong? Naruto asked. He wasn't worried about the fact of her finding out he was a human because she already knew that fact, hell they were friends since childhood time. No way. She screamed surprising the blonde even more as he approached her with a smile on his face, trying to calm her down. It's okay he was however slapped by her hand making the blonde freeze in his place. I hate humans. Don't come near me. Stay away. She frantically yelled in panic, her expression were those of horror and terrified. Why? I hate them because they always made fun of me and at the same time staying away from me as far as possible. They always isolated me making me an unsociable person. I hate them. I despise them. The pin cat explained in anger. I see the blonde nodded. So you didn't know did you? The other side of you befriended with me even when she knew I'm a human. It's alright if you hate me because I was once hated too. Naruto sighed as the images of the past flashed through his mind, teeth were gritting in anger at the thought of someone who looked exactly like his childhood friend hating him. I'm what those people would call a human sacrifice. Human sacrifice? Thought the both of them in surprise and shock. See you guys later, there's something I need to talk about with the headmaster. The blonde sighed as he performs the ram hand seal. Wait. The pincat yelled out, but she was too late as both Moka and Tsukun sees him disappears in a swirl of leaves. Even if she knew such facts however her were still lingering in her mind as her attention turns towards the brunette. What about you? Are you a human too? She asked this time instead of yelling the pincat was minimizing her tone. Yes. Answered Tsukun without shame, he was too hurt and maybe it was the right choice if he could just leave the school now. Besides he already packed all his stuff, yeah that's right, he's going to leave this academy. If that's what you think about human Moka-san then I guess I wouldn't want to be friends with a monster. He yelled and turned around, running away towards the forest, leaving the crying vampiress alone. You're an idiot out of all things you hates human. You should be ashamed of yourself. Inner Moka spoke in a surprisingly calming tone. No. You can't do that. I won't let you. I can and I will, all I need to do is tell Naruto to take the rosary off. You can't speak to him, you're inside the rosary, there's no way Naruto can hear you. I'm pretty sure he could. The silverette smirked, after all he is a shinobi. Meanwhile Naruto appeared inside the headmaster office, he was not expecting to see a ton of paperwork on Mikagami's desk. The hell? He questioned making the hidden man to smirk as he rose from his head. You're finally here. Please help me out. The horrified headmaster screamed as he ran towards the blonde and hugging him. Please. It has been 4 hours since the start of school and paperwork keeps coming back again and again. I can't take this anymore. He cried as he continues hugging the blonde whilst at the same time weeping on his school uniform. Idiot, Naruto face palmed. What do I get from helping you out? Anything you want. Mikagami yelled until a light bulb appeared above his head. On second thought I can give you something better. And that is? I tell you later, for now help me. Fine, but I want a free ramen for the rest of my stay. I can't do that. 2 years. Nope. Fine, a year. A frustrated Naruto snapped. Deal. Now get on with it. A happy headmaster nodded. Hi. The blonde nodded as he casually walking towards the ton of paperworks upon the desk of Mikagami. He stares at them boringly as he cursed his luck, if he hadn't escaped from Moka's turmoil emotion this might never happen. Then again Kakashi sensei would always say, looked underneath the underneath. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. exclaimed Naruto with a smirk as 100 copy of himself appears piling the headmaster office. The moment Mikagami sees this he was beyond surprise and above all his jaw was dropping as tears flooding down from his eyes. Your lifesaver. Mikagami said in happiness as he ran and hugging Naruto. Yes, the clone will stay for a day, so it is safe enough to say you can do whatever you needed whilst the clone works. He explains making the rest of Naruto groaned as they started complaining at the fact the boss is so unfair. Now I'm your creator. The blonde smirked in a god mode, making the rest of them jaw dropped. The headmaster was chuckling in happiness before he took out a rather big book with images. What's that? Your prize. I don't want it. Get lost. Naruto sighed as he walking towards the door with hand waving dismissively. Hey, this is something important. I am sure you're curious about vampires. Vampires? Naruto muses as an image of outer and inner Moka appears in mind. I don't need it. They're nothing but a cannon fodder, even you headmaster, all I wanted is the key. Beside, we already made a deal, a year of free ramen and protecting Tsukun. Are you sure? I'm sure. Even if it contains some important information. The headmaster smirked as he sees the blonde's right hand twitched. What kind of information? The interested and curious Naruto asked, his head tilted to the side to look at the smirking Mikagami. Let's say the strongest yokai ever existed, the three Dark Lords, the reason why I created the rule that states humans are to be executed the moment they're discovered. I am sure you're interested to know about that, are you not? Mikagami smirked as he playfully tapping his hand on the big book. Fine, give it to me. Naruto sighed in defeat as Mikagami throws it towards the blonde. Before Naruto could look down to see what's the inside of the book or even read the title, a sudden voice of someone screaming enters his ears. Hiya. What was that? Asked Naruto and worried as the sound sounded so familiar. I don't know. Why don't you check it out? Mikagami said, waving his hand dismissively as he took out a book and began reading it, leaving the blonde alone. Naruto's sweat dropped. The fact the headmaster doesn't even care about the student's safety was something needed to be questioned. Releasing a sigh, Naruto took a deep breath as he calming down himself and began gathering natural energy. A matter of moment later, Naruto could feel the natural energy goes inside him as it starts residing in his body, and with the help of kurama, he could use the natural energy more than the normal time, just exactly like the time of the Fourth Shinobi War. The only difference is they were now perfect. Natural energy. Muses the headmaster, wondering how a human did such an impossible feat. He was even stronger than some of the most powerful yokai of his generation, and maybe he was even stronger than himself. Nah, there's no way a human could beat someone as powerful as him. Hell, the strongest of his group is Akasha Bloodriver, the mother of Akashi Moka. Meanwhile, Naruto was trying to focus the aura of Akashi Moka. It took him for a couple of minutes, but he eventually did. The Pincat was deep inside, close enough to the bus stop, but she was with someone unfamiliar, and yet at the same time he knew of this guy. It is that Kamiya kid. Kurama informed. I can feel lots of negative energy. Whatever you're planning to do, I suggest you go there now. Damn it, if that's the case, then do you think I can use that technique? Which technique, you idiot? You have plenty, I can't even name them all. The annoyed Kurama retorted. The one we had worked on for 12 days. Oh, that one, Kurama chuckled sheepishly. You could use that technique. Besides, this is the first we're actually going to use it in action, so whatever you do not mess up. Sheesh, I know already. Picaro. The blonde spoke with a smirk on his face. Naruto brought his hand and performed a single-handed ram hand seal. His eyes were close as he pinpoints Moka location. Don't lose focus. Remember, our chakra needs to emerge before the technique could take place. Hell, if you couldn't do it, the move wouldn't work, and instead of us getting there, you will end up in one of the hospital's rooms. Warned Kurama as Naruto, rolling his eyes out of annoyance at the fact he always reminds him of such fact every time he tries it. I know already, be quiet, let me concentrate. Out of amusement, curiosity and surprise were what the headmaster of Yokai Academy currently feels. It's a hard thing to describe. His eyes were staring at the superhuman standing a couple meters away from him with a ram hand seal. He actually knows of this technique. Hell, he was there when the blonde practiced with it, and so far he knew of one thing. It's a risky move that has failed for more than 10 times, and the only successful one was those of luck. I wonder if he could actually pull this one out. Muses Mikagami, folding his arms and watching the blonde concentrate. Somehow I have a bad feeling with this. Duration. Naruto exclaimed as a surge of energy came out. It was the color of gold, blue and red. It was all mixing with the Biju, and of course his own. Then just like that he disappears in a flash of mixing colors, yellow and red. No way. Mikagami yelled in surprise. His eyes were widening to the point like it was going to come out of its sockets. He actually manages to pull the technique out. Haha, I wonder if this is what you call true love. Damn that Akasha's daughter, she is one lucky girl to have such a hero nearing her. Poof. He was however disappointed as the sound of exploding occurring inside of his office as white smoke like screen covering his entire room making him cough in pain. His eyes were once again widening in surprise and shock as the clones Naruto has made have disappears in a matter of moment he left the office. Damn you Naruto. Mikagami yelled as he was once again left to do the works alone. But Naruto. The technique was a successful and he once again used a lot of chakra, hell he could only feel a tiny bit of chakra resides in his stomach. Damn it. Naruto groaned as face met a rather soft ground. I would never think the ground would always feel this soft Naruto thought as he moving his head around the soft like ground. Ah. A familiar voice moaned in pleasure, her face were beet red as she continued staring at what Naruto was doing. What was that? Naruto asked, opening his eyes as blue eyes met green emerald eyes. Moka. He widened in surprise, fear and at the same time happiness. Sorry he blushes face turning away as he wonders what actually happens. It's okay Moka nodded bowing her head down in shame as the heated conversation she had with the blonde lingers in her mind. I would like to apologize I'm truly sorry of what I just said about the fact I hate humans because I don't hate you Tsukun, Naruto. The blonde instead of replying was rather focusing with himself, his eyes were looking around the clearing, he spotted Tsukun on the ground bleeding with eyes half-lidded closed as it stared at him, a smile were plastered on his face before he coughed up blood, apparently a big hole were on his stomach it was surprising to see him even alive at this moment. Kurama give me your chakra. Ahaha always asking me to lend you my chakra, heh. Chuckled the orange nine-tailed fox. Well I could always ask the others. No. I won't let you do that. Fine here. The fox huffed as he sent a little portion of his chakra into Naruto. One more thing you actually did it brat. A couple more of practicing the technique I am sure you could use the technique in battle. However at the moment I suggest you do not use the technique or even practice using it since at the moment your body suffers internal bleeding, which need the 9 of us to work on it if we wanted to fix them in a matter of day. Wow that's new. You almost die, idiot. Sons yelled. You're so lucky brat. If we weren't sealed inside of you, I am sure you'd be at the door of Shinigami by now. Chimay warned with a side making the blonde pale as he remembers those who trapped in the Shinigami stomach will remains there for all eternity. I see. Hahaha. Well I don't really mind that. Shukaku laughs. To save those who are precious to you isn't that the ideal you've always holds? The raccoon asked receiving a nod. If that's the case hell I don't even mind saving you or any of my hosts more than one time. He in here I thought you're one lazy bastard. Kurama mocked. What was that? Hey I'm protecting someone here. Reminded the blonde as he snapped his eyes open showing the world his golden eyes and black slitted pupils. You messed with the wrong person. Smirked the blonde as a little of Kurama's killer intent flare, making those who are nearing him to trembles in fear hell, Tsukun has lost his consciousness the moment he feels the energy. This is. Widened the silver-haired Moka as she remembers in one of the books she has read about Naruto's world. Don't tell me when he meant human sacrifice he actually contained one of those beasts. What do you mean? Questioned a confused outer Moka as she watched the blonde frantically disappears in a color of gold. Just watch the silver at side. What the hell are you, Namikaze? Yelled a terrified Saizu as he was trembling from such pressure coming from the blonde-haired shinobi. TCH complaining and running away won't stop me from getting what I want. And that is Naruto asked as he ready to pummel the brunette to the ground. Akashi Moka. He yelled as his transformed body begun to get even bigger than it previous has, muscles started to bulge even bigger, freaking the hell out of the blonde. Now die. He yelled as he focused a portion of his yaki towards his arm. Hey you can try. Naruto smirked while speaking in an arrogant tone as their fists met each other, sending a cloud of dust and debris flying everywhere as the wind around them started to pick up. Moka who was standing from the sideline forced to use her arms as she brought them to an X position protecting her from dust and debris that could maybe a part of Saizu's plan. He's an orc Naruto. You need to be careful because his muscle could take any damage as long as it is not overloaded. She explained through shouting causing the blonde to nod his head. Orc, huh? Naruto smirked. Then I guess this will be a battle between orc and a kitsune. The kitsune Saizu yelled in surprise, fear and panic as Naruto brought his left hand and punched Saizu on his stomach. Unlike the normal punch he used Kakuo chakra making it 10 times more powerful than it usually does as the color of white seems to seeping out of his hand. That's my steam release. Naruto grinned as he saw Saizu flew a couple meters away from him. The back of his body were hitting many trees as all of those trees stumbled down to the ground, making the once beautiful forests turns into a battlefield. Damn you Namikaze. He yelled as he ran towards Naruto at a movement exactly those like snail. Too slow. Naruto grin appearing right beside Saizu just by using pure speed as he sent another fist, but this time it hit his jaw crushing it, but instead of flying away Saizu enhanced his muscle with Yaki as he used his arms to grab the blonde and throws him away, past the surprised Moka as the blonde hit a couple of trees and eventually one of the branch managed to get past to his skin. Impaling him like a sword impaled a person. Damn, I didn't expect that to happen. Naruto coughed as he used Sun's power to melt the branch away and Kurama was already working on it to heal him. Naruto. An anxious Moka yelled as she ran towards the blonde and checking if everything was alright. Are you okay? Where's the wound? She asked in surprise and curiosity. I'll explain that later, for now I'm going to defeat Saizu in one go. Naruto said as he pushed Moka away, but instead of actually just pushing her away, he accidentally touched the rosary that was hanging above her wrists. Ah, sorry about that. Naruto sighed as a surge of powerful energy gathers in front of him. Bats flew towards Moka as she undergoes some transformation, and once the bats flew away the pink-haired Akashiya Moka was replaced with the silver-haired Moka, red eyes with black slitted pupils, larger wrists, and waist everything change even her personality. You're weak Naruto-kun. She teases. Oh just shut up. Naruto sighed rising from his crouching position and stand side by side with Moka. Is that so? Why don't I show you a fastest way to defeat such lowly monster? She asked with a smirk on her face. Or perhaps are you too afraid to see what I'm capable of? I can feel it, the anger resides in you. You're mad at the fact the spar we had yesterday was a draw, didn't you? No. Naruto's sweat dropped. What is with everyone asking such stupid question? Everyone? I'm sure it was just us, Sukun, Headmaster and the bus driver. So what do you mean by everyone, Namikaze? Son dear. Kurama yelled with a grin as he remembers almost the same scene happened with Kushina and Minato. Oh shut up will you? Nope. Fuck you. Yeah, I love you too. Kurama chuckled as his siblings snickering in the darkness whilst at the same time watching the scene between Naruto and Moka. What's with the change of name? Naruto inquired with a sigh. Trying to change the subject. Are you stupid or what? Fine, whatever. Just tell me what you want. Moka smirked, jackpot. I want you to tell me everything, that is if I could defeat him in one go. She said in a confidence tone, hell she was sure she could do it and the same thing could be said about Naruto. It was just that he doesn't know anything about orc or any other yokai species. He was just that, an amateur, and this was not cheating because she said so. Fine, I'll tell you everything. Naruto sighed in defeat, there is no way she could beat Saizu in one go. Hell, that is why he agreed with her. So this is like a bet we just had yesterday, right? Whoever win. I'll let you do anything with my body. She nodded as she readied herself and ran towards the growling Saizu. Matters not if you're a vampire. I still going to defeat you. Saizu exclaimed as he sent a fist towards the silverette face, but instead of taking a hit Moka dodges them, and more of them came followed by legs as the only thing she could do for a moment was dodging, but still she hadn't do anything besides of dodging, so that's mean so far she can still win this. As the silver-haired vampiress continued to dodges the punch, kicking and headbutt, yes, headbutt, she noticed every passing second Saizu movements became slower and slower, indicating that he was tired and probably going to lose his consciousness as the sound of his hard breathing entered her ears. What's wrong, big boy? Didn't you want to turn me into your sex slave? She chuckled in disgust. By saying such disgusting things, know your place. She yelled and gathers Yaki to her right hand as it curled into a fist and punched Saizu right on his nose as the sound of cracking entered their ears. Saizu widened in surprise as the air went out of him and he eventually flew past a couple of 100 meters crushing trees as he continued to descended further and further away from them. I win. Moka smirked in a mocking tone with her tongue out, pissing off the surprised Naruto. You cheated. I did not. Yes you did. I didn't. You die. Shut up already. Moka huffed as she hugged the blonde. And for my reward let me drink your bloods. Fine, here you go. Naruto sighed, bringing down his collar showing her his white tanned skin. The silverette grinned as she opened her mouth showing him her white fangs, and moment later she pierced the blonde skin, making him moan out in pain as the girl starts to drink the blood out of him at a surprising feat. Hey, calm down. He yelled. MMMH. The silverette said, ignoring Naruto's words as she continued drinking his blood and pushed him to a nearby tree and at the same time accidentally injure him. Damn it Moka, that hurts. Hello. Hey there. It's me, how have you been Mikagami? I'm good, what the hell do you want? I want exactly what I want, to start another contract with the school. I'm sending someone there and maybe we could have another wonderful relationship. Wonderful relationship my ass. Same old Mikagami. I don't need you or anyone anymore. Oh? I have a brat, he's powerful and I could send him there any moment to destroy your wealth, your wife, your son and above all your beloved daughter. Don't you dare do that. Of course I dare. Fine, whatever you say, but seriously, I wanted to start things over. Okay, I guess maybe. Well then, see you sometime in the future. Have a great day, brother. Yeah, you too, jackass. So this part ends here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so quickly like this video for second part of this series. And comment down below your thoughts about this series. And now it's time for me to go, bye.